In Singapore, there is a scent that transcends generations. It's the rich, aromatic blend of 13 different spices, mingling with tender chicken, curried potatoes, and a slice of boiled egg, all encased in a flaky, golden brown pastry. This is the curry O. For over half a century, it has been more than just a snack. It is a cultural icon, a bite-sized piece of Singaporean heritage. Today, you can find these delectable treats in over 70 outlets across the island, and even in cities like London and Perth. But this empire of flavor wasn't built overnight. It is the result of a remarkable journey that began with a humble street stall and a man who dared to trade his comfortable corporate life for the grueling, grease-filled world of a hawker. This is the story of ChangKee Juan, the visionary who transformed a simple curry puff into the multi-million-dollar-old ChangKee empire. The origins of the Rex curry puff. Our story begins long before ChangKee Juan entered the picture. The year was 1956. A Hainanese immigrant named Chang Chuan Boon set up a modest stall on Coke Road, selling golden fried curry puffs. Over the years, he moved his stall, eventually settling in a coffee shop on Mackenzie Road, right opposite the popular Rex Cinema, around 1973. In those days, going to the movies was a grand affair. A single screening seated hundreds of people, and when the movie ended, the hungry crowds would pour out, drawn by the irresistible aroma wafting from Chang's stall. The snacks soon became affectionately known as the Rex Curry Puffs, selling for just 35 cents each. Chang painstakingly prepared every puff by hand, earning a loyal following that stretched across the entire island. But by 1986, after 30 years of hard work, Chang was ready to retire and return to Hainan. The beloved Rex curry puff was at risk of fading into history, unless someone had the vision and courage to carry it forward. A leap of faith. Enter ChangKee Juan. At 36 years old, Han was a successful executive working a comfortable job at an established multinational corporation. But beneath the crisp suits and ties, he harbored a deep-seated dream of becoming a businessman. A dream he credited to his traditional Chinese upbringing. Han knew Chang Chuan Boon through the Hainanese Association and recognized the immense potential of the Rex curry puff. When he learned of Chang's impending retirement, Han knew it was now or never. In 1986, he gathered a small group of investors and bought the stall for 30,000 Singapore dollars, with an additional $40,000 for working capital. It was a massive leap of faith. Han traded his secure $4,000 monthly corporate salary for a meager $700 allowance. He plunged into a world of oil-stained shirts and grueling hours. The irony? Han didn't even like cooking. By his own admission, he couldn't even fry an egg. Yet, he rolled up his sleeves and got his hands dirty, learning every single step of the process, from peeling potatoes and kneading dough to mastering the deep fryer. He even traveled to India and Sri Lanka to educate himself about the spices that gave the curry puff its signature flavor. The price of branding and early struggles. The transition was anything but smooth. Almost immediately, Han faced a series of crushing setbacks. The landlord of the Mackenzie Road coffee shop hiked the monthly rent from $600 to a staggering $3,000 per month. Furthermore, the stall's chief chef departed within the first year. Selling 700 puffs a day at 40 cents each was barely enough to keep the business afloat, let alone fund expansion. But Han brought something crucial from his corporate background. An understanding of branding and systems. He knew that to stand out against competitors selling similar snacks nearby, Old ChangKee needed a professional image. He commissioned an advertising agency to design a new logo and tagline. Old ChangKee. It's a better puff. At a cost of 12,000 Singapore dollars. In 1986. This was an astronomical sum for a struggling hawker stall. The decision terrified his initial investors, causing 4 of them to pull out, leaving Han and his cousin, Bugs Tan, to shoulder the burden alone. Han had to borrow from friends and even asked his wife to pawn her jewelry just to keep the business alive. Later, his nephew, William Lim, invested $5,000, a move that would prove pivotal in the years to come. Despite the hardship, Han refused to retreat. He told himself, "I never regret what I do. I never go back. And I die must go ahead." That relentless spirit would define everything that followed. Systematizing success. Han realized that the traditional hawker model, relying on the mood and manual skills of individual cooks, was fundamentally unsustainable for growth. He needed consistency above all else. If a customer bought a curry puff today, it had to taste exactly the same tomorrow, and the day after that, and every single day thereafter. This led to a revolutionary move. Han relocated operations from the cramped coffee shop corner to a central kitchen in Ubi. He implemented standard operating procedures, or SOAPs, for every stage of production. This was a radical concept for local street food at the time, where handmade authenticity was prized above all else. People were skeptical. They worried that mechanization would strip away the soul of the food. But Han was unwavering. He and his cousin standardized the recipes and traveled to India and Sri Lanka to source the perfect blend of 13 spices. Every step was controlled and documented, from potato peeling to the precise temperature of the deep fryer. By removing the guesswork and standardizing the workflow, Han ensured that every single puff that left his kitchen was held to the same exacting standard. He was no longer just a hawker. He was building a scalable business model, laying the foundation for an empire, expansion and the road to the stock exchange. With a consistent product and a strong brand identity, Old ChangKee was ready to grow. Han adopted a strategy of gradual, deliberate expansion, opening new outlets in high-traffic areas like Shenton Way and Serangoon Gardens, and eventually, the newly built MRT stations that were transforming Singapore's commuter landscape. By 1991, the company had 12 outlets, and sales turnover had surged from $700,000 in 1987 to $1.6 million. In recognition of his extraordinary entrepreneurial journey, Han was awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year award in 1992. Both Newsweek and Asia magazine named him as a man to watch, recognizing the need for even greater production capacity. Han invested in a massive 20,000 square foot modern production facility in Woodlands. In 1995, his nephew, William Lim, officially joined the company as managing director, bringing fresh marketing strategies and helping to modernize the product line. They expanded beyond curry puffs to include fish balls, sotong heads, spring rolls, and chicken nuggets. In 2004, the company hit $20 million in annual turnover and secured halal certification, broadening its appeal to all Singaporeans regardless of race or religion. This relentless drive culminated in 2008, when Old ChangKee was officially listed on the Catalyst board of the Singapore Exchange. The humble hawker stall had become a publicly traded powerhouse. Setbacks and global ambitions. But the journey was never without its missteps. In the 1990s, Old ChangKee attempted aggressive overseas expansion. opening franchise outlets in Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Japan, Myanmar, and even South Africa. The ambition was bold, but the execution proved difficult. Maintaining quality control from afar was a far greater challenge than Juan had anticipated. Complaints about poor quality puffs flooded in from overseas customers. The very consistency that had built the brand's reputation in Singapore was impossible to guarantee through distant franchisees. In 2002, Juan made the painful decision to withdraw all overseas franchises, taking a financial loss of $50,000. It was a humbling setback, but true to his resilient nature, Juan didn't give up. He viewed the failure as a costly but invaluable lesson. As he said himself, "That doesn't mean you can't climb up again after a fall." When old ChangKee eventually re-entered the international market, they did so with a far more measured and controlled approach. They established their own factories in countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines to ensure strict quality control. Today, the brand boasts successful outlets in Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and a flagship store in London's iconic Covent Garden, bringing the authentic taste of Singapore to the world. A legacy of compassion and resilience. ChangKee's success is not just measured in millions of dollars or hundreds of outlets. It is also defined by his character, his leadership, and his deep compassion. Old ChangKee is renowned for its inclusive hiring practices, with a significant portion of its workforce consisting of older workers, many over the age of 45, and some well into their 60s. Han insists on giving priority to older, jobless workers when hiring, viewing it as his way of giving back to the society that helped him succeed. He transformed a dying 30-year-old stall into a modern enterprise that crossed the $100 million sales milestone in 2024, and was named in Forbes Asia's Best Under a Billion list in 2025. He achieved this not through individual heroism, but through teamwork, standardized processes, and an unwavering commitment to quality. Unlike many founders who place their own portraits at company headquarters, Han chose to hang a near life-sized photograph of Singapore's founding father, Lee Kuan Yew, alongside the quote, "The day you can't adjust and change, that day you begin to shrivel and die." That philosophy encapsulates everything ChangKee stands for. From a 35-cent snack sold outside a cinema to a globally recognized brand celebrated by Travel and Leisure magazine as one of the world's 20 best fast food chains. The story of old ChangKee is a testament to the power of vision, resilience, and the enduring appeal of a truly great curry puff. If you decide to do something, always do it well. Never do things halfway. That is the lesson of ChangKee, and that is the legacy of old ChangKee.